This woman had a strange quirk. Every time she went for a swim in the ocean, she'd drink a whole caddy of vodka first. Once the alcohol takes effect, she'd undo her apron right away, put her diving gear on her head, and then dive headfirst into the sea. Watching Kawako's retreating figure, her short-haired companion couldn't help but worry. As time passed, the short-haired girl suddenly noticed Kawako was waving her hands frantically in the water. She thought Kawako was just waving at everyone, so she waved back at her. But to her surprise, Kawako's posture started to change drastically. This immediately made Conan sense that something was wrong. Watching Kawako thrash about in the water, Eri instantly realized Kawako was most likely drowning. At those words, Kawako's fiancé Masahiko's face turned white with fear, for Masahiko had never learned to swim, not even as a kid. Now his fiancé was drowning right in front of him, yet he could only stand there frozen in panic. As Kawako's face contorted more and more in pain, Masahiko cast caution to the wind. He didn't even have time to put on any gear, and ran straight into the ocean. But before he could take 2 steps, a huge wave crashed right into his face. Masahiko tried to push forward, only to be pulled back to the shore by his friend Kunio. Kunio then quickly grabbed Kawako, and swam back to the shore as fast as he could. Once they reached the shore, Kawako mustered all her strength to ask about Masahiko. When she heard how he'd rushed to her aid without a second thought, Kawako soon lost consciousness. At the same time, Ran suddenly spotted something in the sea. Confused, Ran dove straight into the water. What she saw was a black and white sea snake. Realizing the danger, Ran quickly surfaced and told everyone about the sea snake. Masahiko, who had no idea what was going on, didn't notice anything off about Kawako at first. It wasn't until he saw her furrow her brows in agony that Masahiko realized how serious the situation was. Back on the sand, Conan hurried to tell everyone that Kawako had most likely been bitten by a sea snake. Sure enough, after a violent convulsion, Kawako said her left hand was in excruciating pain. When Kunio lifted her hand to check, he found 2 distinct puncture wounds on her skin. Only then did everyone understand that Kawako hadn't fainted from drowning at all. She'd been poisoned. With the situation growing desperate, Kunio quickly grabbed a bandage and tightly tied it around Kawako's wrist. He then began to suck the venom out of the wound, hoping to draw out all the poison. Meanwhile, Conan ran back to the restaurant. After telling Eri what had happened, Conan quickly grabbed a glass of hand-squeezed lemon tea from the table. This sudden move left Kagoro stunned in place, but Eri beside him knew exactly that Conan was doing this to perform first aid on Kawako, because black tea contains tannic acid, a substance that can neutralize snake venom. After performing the first aid, whoever had sucked out the poisoned blood also needed to rinse their mouth with the tea. After explaining, Eri immediately turned to call the police. It wasn't long before the ambulance arrived at the scene. Fearing for Kawako's safety, Masahiko got into the ambulance with her. Before leaving, the paramedics told Ran they needed to identify the type of sea snake as soon as possible, otherwise Kawako's life would be beyond saving. Just then, the hotel manager suddenly remembered there was a complete field guide to sea snakes in his office. Ran then went to the hotel office, and after a quick 2.5-minute search, she found the matching species of sea snake. The manager told Ran it was a selective sea snake, a species that wasn't usually found in the surrounding waters, but a fisherman had been killed by one just recently. But then again, these sea snakes are naturally docile, and would never attack tourists unprovoked under normal circumstances. Before the manager could finish speaking, Ran suddenly had a question. Did selective sea snakes have a species with wings on their backs? The manager denied it outright. This only deepened Ran's confusion, because she had clearly seen a pair of wings on the back of the selective sea snake she spotted. The short-haired girl beside her thought it might have just been seaweed